Okay, so the next topic I really it's interesting to me. I want to talk about Kai Cenat's girlfriend Gigi and her mother. So I believe Young Don covered this. Really happy that more Gen Z men are talking about just all things. To me, this was interesting. So basically, Gigi has come online to talk about the emotional void virtually she felt growing up with her mother. Now, I think that and I've talked a lot about my own relationship with my mother, but sometimes certain people are under the belief that, especially parents are under the belief that like they can buy emotional support, or that by buying things for their children they are providing all of the emotional support that child needs. And as you learn more about the story, it becomes clear that Gigi's mother has like a bunch of other children, so their family was actually very large. So she had a bunch of other siblings, and her dad wasn't around. So just even given that, it's like there's not a real capacity for her to, be there in this way of like she could provide everything. And so I think Gigi's mom, on one hand, is a little bit like delusional because she's not listening to what Gigi is saying. And Gigi is basically saying like, you didn't give me everything that I needed. I wish I would have had more emotional support. That's real. Lots of kids feel like that. That it doesn't mean that her mom is a bad person. Now, here's the other side of that, though. Then there's Kai Cenat, who's like, I did my research, and if you hang out, he's telling Gigi, if you hang out with your mom, you're gonna ruin your reputation. Here's what I would like to say to that. I think that so many black men are just so delusional about everything, and I think that Kai Cenat specifically is like an awful role model for young black boys, and that is who everyone is promoting right now. So I honestly see this next generation of black boys just being complete incels. Like they're going to be living off of legitimately like the internet, video games, and some other like cosplay situation that has nothing to do with like human interaction, interpersonal growth, meaningful relationships with other people, just other humans who are not specific family members. Now, I want to explain this a little bit more about like why I think Kai is wrong here. And it's not just him, it's a lot of people. When people are talking about assortative mating, the whole premise is like marrying into a good family. Now, what is a good family? Some people think it means just marrying into money. There's a lot of like families who have a lot of money, and they also have just a lot of problems. It's like in the Indian community, the incest situation. Like, remember we were just reading about some prince who married his like sister, and it's just like, that's very strange. Or I mean, there's a bunch of issues, but then there's other families who are just like known to like raise really productive members of society. I think that like Bill and Melinda Gates are a good example of this. It just seemed very clear that their children are very well grounded. Like I think a lot of the tech founders also, just more because like they have made their money creating something that has like seriously benefited society, and because of the work that is put into building a product like that, they just understand society and the other people and capitalism, I think, maybe a little more than others. I also do think it's kind of one of the benefits of growing up middle class or like upper middle class, right? You just understand that your parents work for their money, and so the the lessons that they are teaching you and the values that you gain being a member of that society are more truth-seeking. They have a lot more to do with like morality and ethics. This is kind of like the bigger gap between, like, I always call them the Kardashians. And then if you look and see like what Kendall did, like a lot of people have talked about how Kendall has differentiated herself from the other Kardashians, and I would agree with that. Like, or I do think Courtney has a sense of groundedness that I think the others don't. But having an immense amount of wealth, and then, you know, it's just kind of like, look at Kim's current daughter, right? The blue, what is her name? Or the one with the blue hair, and she's all gothy now, and I don't know, Northwest, her. Like, look at what's going on with that situation. It's just like, it's a mess. Maybe it's just adolescence. Who really knows? I also think that, like, I personally like the way that Jada and Will raise their kids. I think that there's a public eye from, like, the black academic Christians who seem to have so much shade, and they always have, for, like, almost like the liberal ethics that Jada and Will provided for their kids, just to allow them a sense of growth. But I think that they did a great job. Another example, I really like Angelina Jolie, the way that she's raised her children. I like so many things about her, so we don't have to really go down that path. I also think like Michelle and the Obamas, the Obama kids are pretty good examples of like keeping their feet on the ground. I think pretty much most people who like get to and through college have a pretty good sense of the way that society works, the other people in society, and how to like communicate effectively and like live amongst them. Those things I think are important, and I think that sometimes people from other social classes miss that. I think that Kai's missing that in a way, though. I don't know. It doesn't really feel like he actually grew up around. I think he grew up pretty middle class, so I'm not sure. Like, telling someone to leave their family is crazy like that. Especially be like, oh yeah, you should leave your mother. I think if Gigi came to that conclusion on her own, where she was like, yeah, my mother was so toxic to me, I need to leave, well, then that's her decision. But to come out and basically be like, yes, let me like guide you, and let me like show you how I have more knowledge or something than you about your own family members, that's very strange. It feels very dominating, almost like he's trying to control her like property. The only other thing I want to say about this is I think that if this is a topic that you've heard of before and you're a woman, I think you should watch the Exotical video that was about how pretty women are like celebrities. It's just like, it doesn't matter what you do. Like, it doesn't matter if you have a boyfriend, if you don't have a boyfriend, if you've like, you know, had a misstep, if you've done something wrong, if you've done something good. It's not about good or bad at all. It's more about understanding the trajectory of your life, no matter how it goes, and how the other people around you are almost reacting. And I am saying that, like, reacting, like they are watching something happening to you, because typically that thing couldn't happen to them because they don't have the privileges that you have. So like they can't even have the experience. They can only discuss the experience in relation to what you have experienced, and then try to and then react accordingly. And it's like that with the men too. And I think in this case, we're watching one man trying to like police really like his girlfriend. It's just very interesting to watch. I think I wonder like if you guys have opinions about what that means. Like, what does that mean to you? Have you experienced someone try to do this to you? I have. And it's just interesting, you know?